Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right and still going nowhere? You watch English videos, you take notes, you say, "I'll start tomorrow." But months pass, and fluency still feels like a distant dream. So here's the uncomfortable truth no one tells you. You're already paying for your dream, with time, with silence, with missed opportunities. You just haven't paid the right price yet, because fluency doesn't cost money. It costs comfort. It costs your old habits, your old identity, and your willingness to be seen trying. That's the real currency. And in this video, I'm not just going to inspire you. I'm going to show you, through story, psychology, and reflection, exactly what the price of fluency really is, and why waiting to pay it is already costing you more than you think. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll understand something most people never realize. Fluency isn't far. But the version of you who speaks effortlessly, they're charging you a price you haven't paid yet. He didn't realize it at first, not when he skipped that English practice, not when he scrolled past the video he promised to watch, but slowly something started to feel off. His dream of a better job, of traveling, of speaking fluently, it stayed frozen while life kept moving. It was like receiving an invisible invoice every month. And no one told him, every time you avoid the price of action, you silently pay the price of regret. The price wasn't dramatic. It was subtle. Missing a job interview because the English requirement made him nervous. Watching a promotion go to someone else. Someone who wasn't better, just more confident in English. A missed opportunity to connect with someone from another country. Small moments, easy to forget, until you realize they're stacking into a mountain you can't ignore. That's the real cost of staying silent, but there's another cost, and it lives inside your mind. When you avoid the work, you don't just lose opportunities, you lose energy. There's a constant background noise of guilt, pressure, fear. It's not loud, but it drains you. That feeling of, "I should be doing something," follows you everywhere. That, my friend, is a psychological tax. Avoidance isn't peace. It's quiet stress, slowly stealing your strength. And the more time passes, the heavier it becomes. Think about it. How many months have you said, "I'll start tomorrow"? And how many tomorrows became years? That's the emotional interest rate. Regret multiplies faster than effort. What takes 10 minutes to try today could cost you a year of self-doubt later. So here's your practice. Speak one English sentence today that your future self won't regret. He had a moment, maybe like you're having right now, where everything got quiet. No one was watching, no pressure, just a deep internal realization. I'm already paying with my energy, paying with my time, paying with my confidence. And for what? Just to stay the same. That's when it hits you. Not trying has a price too, and it's far more expensive than failure. So let's make this real. Think of one habit you've kept. Maybe staying up late on your phone, skipping English practice, or pretending next month is a real plan. That habit, it's not neutral. It's costing you something. It's not saving you energy, it's stealing your progress. The longer you keep it, the longer you delay the life you say you want. No one's going to come knock on your door and say, "Hey, your dream is expiring." But that doesn't mean it's not. Every dream has a shelf life, not because it disappears, but because your belief in it weakens over time. When you avoid the small actions, your mind starts believing that maybe it's not meant for you. That's a lie. But the only way to fight it is with action. And here's the twist. Once you realize you're already paying the price, everything changes. You're no longer afraid of sacrifice. You're afraid of staying the same. That shift, it's the beginning of transformation. It's not just about English. It's about reclaiming your life, your potential, your voice. But there's still one thing most people don't understand about the real cost of fluency. He always thought fluency was about having more time. That if he just had a few free months, maybe during vacation or after work got easier, then English would finally make sense. But here's what no one told him. Time is not the real currency. Focus is. You can waste years waiting for more hours, while someone else transforms with 5 minutes of full attention. Fluency doesn't ask for your day, it asks for your presence. Because if you believe that time is the price, then you'll keep delaying. You'll keep waiting for a better moment that never comes. But attention, that's available now. 5 minutes, no phone, no music, no distractions, just you, your voice, and one English sentence. Can you give that? If yes, you've already started paying the real price. And if not, maybe you're not short on time. You're just not yet willing to focus. Some believe the price is talent. They say, I'm not gifted with languages, as if fluency is a genetic gift. But fluency isn't a talent. It's a tolerance for repetition. The patient ones win. The ones who whisper the same sentence 5 times before breakfast. The ones who feel awkward but speak anyway. So here's a practice. Repeat one simple phrase, slowly, 10 times. It's not glamorous, but it works. Others wait for motivation. They believe fluency will arrive when they feel ready. But motivation is a guest who doesn't always show up, and when it does, it rarely stays long. The people who grow fast, they don't wait for the mood. They speak when it's boring. They practice when they're tired. They whisper English to themselves even when the spark is gone. That's not motivation. That's self-respect. Then there's the luck myth. Some people just had better chances, he told himself. They traveled. They had native friends. But luck is a story we tell to avoid responsibility, because the truth is harder to accept. Every fluent speaker built it. They didn't find fluency in a conversation. They built it in the silence, in the lonely moments, in the small daily acts no one saw. That's the truth behind every accent you admire. So what if we told you the real price isn't time, talent, motivation, or luck? The real price is showing up, consistently, imperfectly, quietly. Fluency doesn't need your drama, it needs your discipline. One English phrase spoken every day builds a better future than one perfect week, followed by silence. Are you willing to make that trade? Let's test that right now. Choose one micro-habit, just one. It could be 3 minutes of shadowing after lunch, a voice recording before bed, a sticky note with one sentence by your mirror. Don't aim for perfect, aim for repeatable, because what you repeat you become, and what you don't, you forget. And maybe that's the cost that scares people the most. Not money, not effort, but consistency, because consistency forces you to become someone new. But what happens when the cost of staying the same finally becomes heavier than the price of change? He had been listening for years, 12 to be exact, watching English videos, reading subtitles, smiling politely when someone spoke English near him. He nodded, he understood him, but he never spoke, not even once. And in his mind, that seemed okay. He thought, at least I'm learning something. But what he didn't see was this. Passive learning creates passive confidence, and passive confidence never shows up when it matters most. People admired him. Wow, your English understanding is amazing, they'd say. And he believed it too, until the day of the interview. A tech company, a real opportunity. He had the skills, he had the resume, he even had the chance. But as soon as the Zoom call began and the interviewer asked, "Can you tell us about yourself?" his mind went dark. Not because he didn't know English, but because he never trained his voice to carry it. His brain was full, but his mouth was empty. That's what silence does. It tricks you. You think you're preparing, but you're only postponing. They asked a second question. He tried to answer, but the sentences came out broken, flat, unsure. Yes, I am software, coding, good." Even he didn't believe himself. And that's when he saw it clearly. Understanding without speaking is like owning a car you never learned to drive. The call ended with a smile, but it wasn't a victory. It was a quiet no, the kind that stays with you for years. That day he didn't lose a job. He lost a version of himself, a version he thought was fluent, ready, capable. And when that illusion shattered, pain rushed in. But pain, when faced, can become something powerful, clarity. Because for the first time, he saw the real enemy. Not the language, Not the company, but silence. And that pain became a promise. He told himself, never again. No more passive learning. No more fake fluency. From that day, he made one uncomfortable rule. After every difficult English moment, even if it was just listening, he had to speak. Out loud. To himself. To the mirror. To a voice recorder. No excuses. No perfection. Just exposure. He started with 1 minute a day, just one. He would describe his day in English, no matter how broken it sounded. And slowly, something shifted. His brain began trusting his mouth. His mouth began trusting his courage. 1 minute became 2. 2 became 5. Sometimes it was awkward, often it was messy, but it was real. And real practice beats silent perfection every single time. He began keeping voice logs, 20 seconds a day, no pressure, just speaking. Today I worked on this. I feel tired, but I practiced anyway. I made a mistake, and that's okay. And the more he spoke, the more the silence lost its power. Fluency wasn't arriving in big moments. It was rebuilding itself through tiny acts of rebellion against the quiet. And you might not have 12 years behind you, but how long will you wait before speaking becomes your daily ritual, not just your secret wish? Because what happened next in his story proves something even deeper about English and about identity itself. There comes a moment in every English learner's journey where time no longer matters. You've spent hours watching videos, reading tips, collecting notebooks full of vocabulary, and yet something still holds you back. It's not the words. It's not the time. It's the identity. Because to speak fluently, you have to let go of the quiet version of yourself, the one who hides behind listening and never speaks. And that's not a small change. That's ego death. Fluency isn't just about language. It's about becoming someone else, someone who risks sounding wrong, someone who dares to take space. And that means killing off the old self who whispered, "Don't embarrass me." Psychologically, this is identity reconstruction. Your brain is wired to protect the current you, even if that version is stuck. That's why your hands sweat before speaking. It's not fear of English, it's fear of being seen as a beginner again. And let's be honest, exposure hurts. Fluency demands visibility, but visibility triggers all your old beliefs. I'm not smart enough. People will judge me. I always freeze. That's called learned helplessness. It's the voice of past failures trying to predict your future. But here's the truth. Fear is not a sign to stop. It's a signal, a sign that your brain is stretching, growing, stepping into a version of you it doesn't yet recognize. That's called expansion. You don't overcome this by thinking more. You overcome it by reframing the discomfort. When your heart races before speaking, don't say, "I'm scared." Say, "This is my nervous system rewiring." Your biology is responding to growth. You are literally becoming someone new. And yes, it's vulnerable. But so is every powerful transformation. Speak with a tone you've never used before. Surprise yourself. Let your voice introduce you to the future version of you. But be warned, your ego won't like this. The ego hates being a beginner. It craves certainty, image, control. So the moment you start to sound awkward, your ego will whisper, "This is stupid. Stop." That's where most people quit, not because they lack talent, but because they listen to the wrong voice. Instead, celebrate one mistake today, out loud. Make it your proof that you are not hiding anymore. Psychologically, transformation isn't one big shift. It's tiny integrations. Habits that say, "This is who I am now." And the more often you show up with that identity, the more your brain accepts it. It's called consistency-based self-belief. Want to feel confident? Then speak consistently, even if just for 1 minute a day. Create a predictable English ritual. No decision-making, no drama, just repetition. Because fluency isn't built on inspiration, it's built on emotional regulation. When life is chaotic, your practice is stable. When motivation disappears, your identity doesn't. You don't speak because you feel ready. You speak because you've decided, "This is who I am now." A person who speaks English not just studies it. That's not just mindset. That's psychological mastery. And that mastery, it doesn't just change your English, it changes the way you see yourself. But what happens when that new version of you is asked to give up the comforts that once felt safe? Did you enjoy the content and it made a difference for you? Click on Super Thanks and support our work. Some people wait for the day when they'll finally have enough time, enough energy, enough money to chase their dream. But dreams are not purchased with dollars. They are earned with discomfort. Fluency doesn't ask you to be rich. It asks you to be real. Real enough to leave your comfort zone. Real enough to wake up earlier. Real enough to be seen stumbling through your first sentences and not run away. Comfort is the most expensive thing you'll ever keep because it demands your future in exchange for your present. Think of it like this. Every time you stay quiet to avoid embarrassment, you're making a payment with your progress, with your courage, with your potential. And the cost, you feel it late at night when the voice in your head whispers, "Why am I still here?" in the same place. So here's your first practice. Pick one uncomfortable action in English, just one. It could be recording yourself, asking a question in a language group, speaking in front of the mirror with full volume. Yes, it might feel awkward, but that awkwardness, that's the sound of a dream being born. It's the sound of growth scratching through the surface. Distraction is another thief in disguise. The hours you lose scrolling through reels, you think they're free, but they cost you everything you say you want. Every tap is a quiet sacrifice, not of money, but of meaning. So try this. Before your next English session, do 20 minutes of digital fasting. No phone, no tabs, just you and your mind. The silence might feel strange at first, but inside that silence, you'll hear your real focus. And then comes the hardest sacrifice, your old identity. The version of you who always says, "I'm just bad at languages." The one who jokes about never being fluent just to avoid feeling the pain of trying. That identity kept you safe, but it also kept you stuck. Write this today. I am someone who shows up. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. Now let's talk about the perfection trap. So many learners are willing to work hard, but only if they get it right. The pronunciation must be clean, the grammar must be correct. But perfection is a cage that protects your ego and kills your progress. So give yourself permission to make 3 visible mistakes today, out loud, in writing, in practice, and call them what they are, proof that you're in motion. Sacrifice isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, skipping comfort, saying no to excuses, leaving the old version of yourself behind, one choice at a time. And that quiet pain? It's sacred, because it means you're no longer just dreaming about fluency. You're actually walking toward it. But what if fluency isn't far away? What if it already exists, in a future version of you who speaks confidently, effortlessly, and is waiting for you to catch up? There is a version of you, just a few steps ahead. They speak English naturally. They don't translate in their head. They smile during conversations instead of worrying. They exist. But to meet them, you must walk a certain path, a path made of decisions most people avoid. The cost is not unknown. It's unpaid. And the distance between you and that future self, it's not time, it's consistency. This version of you is already living somewhere on your timeline. But right now, you live in the gap, that space between desire and discipline. And that gap doesn't close with more thinking. It closes with movement. So here's the practice. Speak one sentence today, not as the current you, but as the fluent version of you. Let your voice borrow their confidence. Let your mouth practice their rhythm. But be ready. This version of you has paid an emotional toll. They've spoken while shaking. They've made mistakes while others watched. They've repeated the same phrases in moments of deep frustration. And each of those moments rewired their brain. Built a new connection, strengthened a new map. That's the price. Courage during discomfort. Can you whisper one English phrase when you feel low? That's the bridge. The future you is not vague. they are precise. They don't say, I want to speak English. They say, I'm learning English to work in Canada. I'm becoming fluent to lead in my company. I want to feel free when I travel. Vague goals cost more than clear ones because they waste your effort. So here's your task. Write your English purpose in 10 words. No fluff, no poetry, just truth. That clarity is your currency. And now the real equation. Effort x consistency. Reality. There's no shortcut, no secret back door. But the good news, the price never lies. What you give, you get. Speak 5 minutes every day for 30 days, and you will feel it. Write 1 sentence a day and your brain will respond. Record your voice weekly, and your fear will start to leave. Fluency isn't magic, it's math. Track 1 small action daily, just 1. It could be reading an English paragraph out loud. It could be listening and repeating 1 TED Talk sentence. It could be shadowing a scene from a movie. Keep it so simple you can't fail, because when success becomes visible, your belief becomes permanent. Most people never pay the full price, not because they're weak, but because they never saw the receipt. They thought they were failing, when in reality, they just stopped halfway. Your fluent self didn't stop. They kept going. And every time you repeat a small action, you're walking toward them. But fluency isn't the final cost. The biggest price isn't effort. It's the version of you that must be born to sustain the dream. From the outside, it always looks the same. Another day, another English video saved for later, another notebook collecting dust, another goal that quietly dies in the name of not today. But time keeps moving. Hesitation doesn't feel dangerous until years pass. You thought you were just waiting, but really you were paying. Paying with confidence, with opportunity, with life. That's the hidden cost of hesitation. People think they're being smart by waiting for the right time. But hesitation isn't intelligence. It's slow regret in disguise. 1 second of fear left unchecked becomes 1 month of silence. 1 month becomes 1 year, and suddenly the dream is still there, but you're further from it than ever before. So next time you feel the hesitation rise, here's your practice. Speak immediately. 1 sentence. No filter, no planning, just action. Confusion is another expensive lie. I don't know what method to follow. I need to research more. But confusion is often just fear dressed as logic. The price of trying something wrong is much lower than the price of doing nothing. So pick 1 method, shadowing, journaling, daily voice notes, and stick to it for 30 days. Simplicity isn't weakness, it's power, when done consistently. Then comes fear. Fear of sounding silly, fear of being judged, fear of not improving fast enough. But here's the paradox. The more time you spend fearing, the less time you spend growing. Fear doesn't prevent failure, it creates it. So swap fear for action right now. Set a timer, 30 seconds. Speak about your day in English, even if it's ugly, even if you feel stupid. Especially then. That's the price of transformation. And let's talk about inconsistency, the silent killer of fluency. Starting and stopping creates a broken rhythm in your brain. You build a little confidence and then disappear. Your neural pathways weaken, progress fades. So what's the fix? A 7-day streak. That's it. Not perfect effort, just daily effort. Read, speak, listen, journal. Doesn't matter what, it matters that you don't skip. The brain loves patterns. It rewards what's repeated. So build a pattern your future self can be proud of. No more chasing motivation. No more restarting. Just a quiet agreement with yourself. I don't miss days. I miss the old me. Because while you hesitate, someone else with half your talent, but twice your courage, is already practicing, already applying, already becoming fluent. They're not better than you. They just stopped waiting, and the clock never gave them back a single second. And if you still think waiting is free, ask yourself, what has it already cost you? There's a question waiting for you in the silence, a question most people avoid because it changes everything. Are you willing to change who you are to become who you want to be? Fluency isn't just about practice, it's about identity. If you still see yourself as the one who always gives up, always hesitates, always stays quiet, then no amount of studying will save you. Because fluency demands a new self-image, one that says, I am becoming fluent. Say it now, slowly, like it's already true. But be honest, what are you still holding on to? Old habits, old fears, old excuses that once made sense, but now just keep you stuck. Dreams don't make space for everything. To grow, something has to go. So, take a look at your life. What's one thing you must release to rise? Is it 45 minutes of scrolling every night? Is it the fear of judgment? Is it the voice that says, what if I fail? That's your task now. Remove one block, clear the way. And here comes the real test. How far are you willing to go for your dream? Are you willing to be misunderstood, to be imperfect, to start over again and again until your tongue stops shaking? Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in decision. So today, not next week, do one act of courage in English. Say something, write something, share something, and let it feel risky. That's how you know it matters. Now comes the hardest truth of all. You will pay a price. Either now, with discomfort, effort, and small daily steps, or later, with regret. Regret is the most expensive currency in the world. You don't feel it in your wallet. You feel it in your chest. You feel it when you see someone living your dream and whisper, that could have been me. But it's not too late. You're still here. And that means you still have a choice. Here's how you end today. Record one voice message, just for you. Doesn't need to be shared. Say your name, say your goal, say what you're willing to do. Speak like someone who is done waiting. Save it. Listen to it tomorrow. Listen again next week. Let it become your daily contract. Proof that you paid the first installment on your future. Because in the end, fluency isn't a result. It's an identity shift. It's the moment you stop saying, I want to learn English, and start saying, I am someone who shows up no matter what. You already know the price. The only question left is, are you willing to pay it? So now you know. The dream of fluency doesn't wait. It doesn't beg. It simply asks, who are you willing to become to earn the future you want? Because English isn't just a language. It's a mirror. It shows you where you hesitate, where you hide, where you're still holding on to the version of yourself that plays small. But it also reveals something beautiful, that you're capable of far more than you've allowed yourself to believe. So ask yourself, what is your silence already costing you? How many moments, jobs, connections, or chances have slipped through your fingers just because you weren't ready to speak? And more importantly, how long will you keep paying that price? Maybe today is the day you stop trying to feel ready and start speaking from the place that wants to grow. Because fluency doesn't come to the perfect, it comes to the consistent, to the brave, to the person who shows up even when no one's watching. Now I'd love to hear from you. What is your reason for learning English? What price have you already paid? And what are you finally ready to give? Write your answer in the comments. Not just for me, but for you. If this story moved you, if it opened your eyes or helped you see English in a new light, then subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on the notifications. Not because it helps me, but because it's a small way to say, yes, I'm ready. Let's do this. I'm not waiting anymore.